Now, first, I'll admit that my timing is off. I should have done this a long time ago, but I did bring my Christmas list tonight, and I'd just like to read some of the things that I'd like to. And I know there's not much time, but you can buy the stuff after Christmas. I'm kidding, of course, but sometimes people say, does anybody ever give a priest a gift, and what do you get? There's no expectation, by the way. Just you being who you are is a gift enough. But sometimes people do give us things. Food, for example, we always get really good food, lots of sweets, and I eat some, I freeze some, I share some with family and friends. Sometimes people give us gift cards or cash, and it's always what it says more than the actual gift. It says, we support you, we love you, we're grateful, and that means a lot. We're all human after all. One of the most unique gifts I ever got was a gift card for a pedicure. And it was my first year in Marshfield, and my buddy, he was the first to notice I'd come over and visit. I'd take my shoes off, and he'd start coughing and wheezing, and and I could smell my own feet. I'm like, gosh, well, it was one of the best things. It's only pedicure. I don't ever need another one, but this lady really knew a lot about feet and taking care of them. You can't wear, for example, black shoes and black socks 16 hours a day without things starting to kind of go south on you. So I have two pairs of shoes. I wear certain ones, on the weekend, and the other ones the weekdays. I had the solemnity shoes and the ferial. Anyway, the idea, of course, is that it was a nice gift. I've learned a lot about how to take care of your feet, and I still have a few friends now that don't mind if I take my shoes off. Anyway, the bishop always gives us a gift too. He always sends a nice note. It's a well-thought-out little letter he gives. It's very encouraging. And he gives a book. And this year it was, what's it titled? This Is My Body by Bishop Barron. By the way, the first priest to read it and incorporate it into a homily gets a nice raise. So anyway, that's what we're doing tonight. It's a great book, and I've only read about half of it, but it talks about the Eucharistic revival. And specifically, it says that communion with God and with each other, because we're fallen creatures, it requires sacrifice. Love is not going to be easy for us, not now, not in our present condition. Love is going to take a lot of divine assistance, a lot of humility, a lot of trust. And God is going to teach us. That's why he came into our world, to show us greater love than this no man has, to lay down his life. And so just learning about it, even in the vows for your wedding day, it says in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. It's written right into the vows that love is not going to be easy. There are a few things that we can take from the readings. The first really is from tomorrow night. We're going to be right back here tomorrow or Monday, whatever day. They all run together for Christmas. But anyway, the idea is that the law of the gift, the more you give, the more you receive. But if you listen to the gospel for Christmas Eve, it's about Caesar Augustus, and he wants everybody to come and be counted, a census. That's why the Holy Family's in Bethlehem. And of course, if you're Caesar, you've got all the power. And imagine his table, what he was able to eat. It would have been lavishly decorated with all sorts of goodies. And contrast that, the greatest human being, Caesar, with God's only begotten son who was born in a barn. And they lay him in a manger. And a manger, you realize, is where animals eat. So God, he is in complete contrast that the greatest in our society, in our race, is those who get to eat the most. And God says, no, the greatest are those who give their life. He's born in Bethlehem, which is a place that means house of bread. It's a foreshadowing. He's going to feed us. He's going to give himself. And the more we give, the more we receive. Well, that's an old truth that's really difficult for us to believe and to live. I was talking to a couple, it was after the time of 2020, COVID and quarantine and everything. And this guy, he said that they discovered, he and his wife, that with that time together as family, they didn't realize how much time they'd been missing. How they'd been so focused on trying to raise enough money and pay the bills and have the great American dream. But they were missing family time. Time that you only get once because they grow up and they move on. He said, Father, it's a real blessing in disguise for us. We downsized, sold a car. I stay home, she works, and we're together more than we ever were. The more you give, the more you receive. We forget that. That's a lesson number one. Number two is that sometimes you want to give something, and God says, nope, not yet, not you, not here. That's what David, he wants to build a temple, and God says, no. Solomon, his son, is going to build it. Well, why couldn't David? Maybe he was going to do the right thing for the wrong reason. Maybe God had another plan. Maybe sometimes we don't really know best, and God does. There was a guy named Louis Martin, nice last name. Anyway, he wanted to be a priest. He went to the monastery, and they said no. Another lady named Zelly, she went to the convent, wanted to be a sister. They said no. They met, got married. They thought, well, we'll just have we'll raise our family. We won't have a family. We'll be like Mary and Joseph. And then somebody said, no, getting married means open her heart to life. And they had all kinds of kids. They wanted to have a priest. They had 2 boys that died in their infancy. But they did have a towering saint, the little flower. They didn't get anything that they had wanted. Life never went the way that they had hoped. But they were obedient. They trusted. Zelly and Louis are both saints, and so is Therese, and maybe someday another one of their children too. If we trust the Lord, if we say, I'm going to do this, and he says no, we do well to obey. Because sometimes it's the right thing for the wrong reason. I met Mother Teresa one time. It's my claim to fame, and I have a picture with her. She was very short, but full of holiness, great sense of humor, a person fully alive. And she was famous when you met her. She'd give you a miraculous medal. I thought, who am I going to give this to? I had a college professor that loved Mother Teresa, so I sent it to him with a note explaining how I got it and how I thought of him. I was waiting for him to write back and to say, you're the most wonderful human being ever. And he never did. And it took me 10 years to forgive him. And I began to wonder, was that gift for him or was it for me? You ever do that? Well, you give it and you're like waiting, and then you get sore about it because, well, maybe our ego gets caught up in our gift. And maybe that's why God said no to David. It's okay to suggest things, but in the end, to trust that God knows best. The last point is, it comes from the Blessed Virgin Mary, that she slows things down. Right now, we're all at full tilt. We got a lot on our mind. We're thinking about Christmas. We're thinking about, some of you are thinking about what you're going to make for dinner, and the gifts wrapped, and is it going to come off okay? There's a lot on our mind. But Mary slows things down. She thinks. She prays. She asks questions. You ever in such a hurry that you catch yourself? Happens to me on a regular basis. My mom was telling me that when she was having a hard day with Dad, trying to take care of him, we'd say, maybe it's time for the nursing home. She never wanted to do that. And then she'd say, I get so exasperated. I say, I can't do it. And then I catch myself. And I think, but pretty soon he'll be gone. And then I'll be alone. I think of that when I stand at the altar. I'm tired, and tomorrow will be 4 masses. And I mean, oh my gosh, here we go. And you start feeling sorry for yourself. But then, like the Blessed Virgin Mary, you see the person, the people. You say, it's only once. It'll be over before I know it. I should be grateful. What do you get? This is my shopping list, and I'll leave it here if anybody wants to check it out later. But what do you get a priest? The best thing? I get these all the time. You've been remembered in a novena of masses. You're being remembered in my daily rosary. Someday you're going to meet all the people that ran Holy Name. One will be Betty Schuster, who used to pray for me every day. Another guy, Norm Eckes, who died just short of 100. Those are the people. That's the gift that makes the biggest impact. What does God want? Not our stuff. He wants our hearts. And what did he give us? His only begotten Son. And that little baby, he changed everything.